morning, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, plans unveiled for transport in the north, a murder investigation in Grimsby, and shining a light on women in the First World War. And later in tonight's programme, Jack brings us the thoughts of both the Hull City and Scunthorpe managers in the sports, and I'll be talking to Ruairidh Greig about a new play in Grimsby. Before that, Flowering with Bob Callison of Cleethorpes and Bloom. A master plan for transport infrastructure across the north has been unveiled today. The plans include a new rail network, upgrading existing train lines between Leeds and Hull and between Sheffield and Hull, and upgrading local roads. If approved, the 30-year plan would create over 800,000 jobs and boost the local economy by as much as £100 billion. A 13-week consultation is expected on the proposals. Police have launched a murder investigation after the death of a man in Grimsby. A 45-year-old man was assaulted outside the Halifax Bank on Old Marketplace yesterday afternoon. He was taken to Diana, Princess of Wales Hospital for treatment but died this morning. Police are keen to trace the suspect, described as a white man between 20 and 45 years old. Inquiries continue. The Sporting Memories Network has come to Grimsby. The charity hosts reminiscence events for older people who may be suffering from loneliness or dementia. A new group has started at Blundell Park in Grimsby, using funds from St Hugh's Hospital and working alongside the charity Friendship at Home. Kirsten Green, the group leader and a member of the Mariners Trust Board, says the group has big plans ahead to give Grimsby's older football lovers something to enjoy.
I've always been interested in Sporting Memories. The club have always been behind it. And I happened to see a tweet what they'd put out about training to do a group. And I was like, well, I had a search and there was literally the Waltham group left. I was like, well, this is such a huge thing, but we've only got one group in the whole of this area. There's got to be space for more. I went across the training and I came back and the Facebook post was for Friendship at Home about dealing with loneliness. I thought, that was fate, that I'd seen this Facebook post. Had a chat with Julie at Friendship at Home and said, look, I've done the training, this is the group that I want to do. I'm on the board of the Mariners Trust. So this bar that we're in now is a Mariners Trust bar. So again, it was a no-brainer. All on the walls you'll see different pictures, different memories. So even the room itself just invokes those thoughts.
We came along, we're looking for something for my dad. He's retired and he loves football, and my granddad, his dad, used to play for Grimsby Town before the war. So we thought it'd be a really good thing for him to come and speak to other people about an interest. Unfortunately, he's got 4 daughters, so it wasn't all about football. So he comes to the matches, every home match. So I thought it'd be nice for him to come and share some memories with people of what his dad did, and hopefully talk about Grimsby Town over the years. We just talked about when my dad played football, and I used to go and see him, and I can still hear the sounds of the football studs and smell the ointment that they used to put on. I can never remember what it's called, but you remember that, but you don't exactly remember everything about it, and other people might prompt things that you'd forgotten about, and just a nice way to spend a morning, I think.
The structure of the group is not fixed, so I'll maybe have a few ideas that we'll go through when there's a lull in conversation, but as you'll see behind me, that it's just a general flow of chat, and hopefully as we go along more people will get in. We're hopefully going to have guest speakers come in to talk about their memories, and also going to have activity groups come in that are more for those that sort of mobile restriction that they can get part in. We've got walking football guys here as well, so it's sort of trying to expand it outside of this 2 hours as well, that you don't have to sit at home all day. There are other opportunities there for you to get out and about as well.
Plans for Lincoln's new bus station go on display to the public this week. They'll reveal the new facilities and the services available. The new bus station includes 14 bays that'll see over 600 departures each weekday. It's part of the City Council's £30 million transport hub. The preview days are Friday and Saturday. The new station officially opens on the 29th of January. Meanwhile, there are plans for the creation of a health village in Bridlington. If given the go-ahead, the £18 million project would see all 5 GP surgeries in the town move to a new building alongside community services. The new scheme would deal with a shortfall of GPs by encouraging them to move to the town. Crown Buildings on Key Road has been earmarked as a potential site for the development. A new travelling exhibition in Lincolnshire is shining a light on women's efforts in Lincolnshire during the First World War. Heroines of the Homefront aims to show how women in the county contributed to the war effort while the men were away fighting. Funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund, the project will run until 2020. Brian Riley of Aviation Heritage Lincolnshire says he hopes the exhibition will teach Lincolnshire's residents about their heritage from the First World War.
Women of Lincolnshire who lived and worked during the First World War are having their story brought to life in a new exhibition. Heroines of the Homefront is a travelling exhibition that recognises women's efforts during the conflict. Lincolnshire became one of the world's largest aircraft production centres during World War I. This was thanks to the women of Lincolnshire, thousands of whom were involved in building aircraft every single day.
During the First World War, this county produced most of the aircraft that were flown by the Royal Flying Corps and Royal Naval Air Service on the Western Front and elsewhere. So it was a vast undertaking and couldn't be done by the short supply of men that were available, because a lot of men had gone off to war and there were big gaps in the factories to fill. And they looked to women to fill them, and the women came in and they did a really remarkable and wonderful job. It is a travelling exhibition. It's one of 2 exhibitions that are currently travelling around the county. The other one is called Heroes of the Airfields and is currently at the Gainsborough Heritage Centre. The idea is that we will be looking over the next 2 years until April 2020. We'll be looking in detail at First World War aviation in the county and taking that outside Lincoln City and out into the rest of the county, so that the people who actually live in the county can learn about this magnificent heritage. A lot of people have heard of Lincolnshire as the so-called bomber county, and that has been mainly based on the fact that a lot of bomber airfields were built in the Second World War. But even a lot of Lincolnshire people I've spoken to had no idea that in the First World War there were many airfields set up to provide air defence for the nation, and also to train hundreds and thousands of British and Allied airmen to actually go and fight the war on the Western Front and elsewhere in the Mediterranean and outside the UK. So Lincolnshire played a huge role in the First World War in its aviation, and we're looking to shine a light on it and show people just what this county did.
And that exhibition runs at the Caister Arts and Heritage Centre until the 31st of January. You can discover more about upcoming exhibitions from the project on Aviation Heritage Lincolnshire's website. Now, Cleethorpes in Bloom is calling for more volunteers to keep the organisation running, and I'm joined now by Bob Callison, the chairman of Cleethorpes in Bloom, to tell me what's going on. Bob, thanks very much for coming in and bringing your green fingers.
Thank you very much.
Cleethorpes in Bloom, it's a bit of a time for a changing of the guard.
It is. We were formed 21 years ago. I was one of the founder members, with 4 other gentlemen who had never met before. I'd met one of them before. But other than that, we got on like house on fire for the majority to have stuck it out for 21 years.
So you had the same committee with an unchanging personnel for more than 2 decades?
Yes, and I can honestly say we've never had a cross word with each other, and that's genuine.
Well, that's quite impressive in its own right, isn't it? But you've decided that the time has come for new faces. So what sort of people are you looking for?
Well, we'd like somebody that they don't naturally, or they don't have to be horticultural, as long as they can bring some sort of skills to the table. Either they're very good at leadership or accountancy, so they could look after the accounts, because the treasurer's resigning as well. He wants to retire. Or secretarial work, and the ability to go out and talk to people about sponsorship, because Cleethorpes in Bloom is all about sponsorships and partnership working.
And this is a significant organisation, 21 years, as you say, and you've done remarkable things. I mean, apart from anything else, the Royal Horticultural Society, the RHS, has frequently recognised your work.
They have. We've become one of the top 6 high-scoring competitors within Great Britain, and that includes the Channel Islands, Ireland, Scotland, Wales.
Lots of gold medals and
I believe
gilt
to
medals.
date 18 gold medals, 5 silver gilt medals, and 1 silver medal, and a gold in the Champion of Champions, which is a special category, and a silver gilt in the Champion of Champions.
Now, it's not just the plants and the flowers that you look after. There's also, you've made sort of, in your way, sort of solid, almost infrastructure changes to the way that Cleethorpes lives.
Yes, we have. It is once again about partnership working so that we can get in there and do that more or less straight away. If there's something broken, we can repair it quickly and get it done as quickly as we can. But we've put some infrastructures, as you quite rightly said. We put a very large anchor, some sails that we created, a deck chair, some lollipop features that, and candy floss features that we had through the resort. The boy with the leaking boot is a fine example. We adopted the boy with the leaking boot, made him our mascot, and we've protected him and we've refurbished him year on year out.
If anybody is interested in stepping into your very large Wellingtons, how should they get in contact?
They can phone myself, Bob Callison, or they can get in touch with my email. Which is adelaide.hotel@NTL World, or our coordinator, Jeff Blanchard, at jeffrey.blanchard@ntlworld.com.
Bob, thank you very much. Join us after the break. We'll have the sports then. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Jack brings us the thoughts of Nigel Adkins and Graham Alexander in the sports, and I'll be talking to Ruairidh Greig about a new play about Ruth Ellis. A consultation is underway to relaunch a service in East Yorkshire. Willoughby's post office closed its doors last year following the resignation of the postmaster. The post office, the organisation, the post office, is now considering reintroducing the service in the Wishes gift shop in the square in the village. The consultation runs until the end of January. People across the East Riding are being encouraged to embrace the countryside. East Riding Council has launched its countryside events programme for 2018. Events include photography walks and wildlife watching events. Walks range from 30 minutes to 2 hours and start at various locations across the county, including East Riding Leisure in Beverley and Cottingham Sports Centre. The programme is sponsored by NHS Health Check and it runs all year round. The final postcard from a City of Culture project has been released. Babies born at the end of last year will feature in the 6th postcard in the series, available from Hull Women and Children's Hospital. Footprints of babies born during Hull's Year in the Spotlight were taken to create the artwork for the foyer of the hospital. The final panel featuring the footprints will be unveiled at the hospital next week. Work has started on an ambitious project in Withensea. Dancing fountains are being installed along the seafront with 14 jets arranged in a zigzag pattern around the town's beacon. It's the first of its kind on the East Yorkshire coast, and the fountains will cost over £300,000, funded by Big Local. The fountains are expected to take 6 weeks to complete. Now, a new play opens at the Caxton Theatre in Grimsby this weekend. It tells the story of Ruth Ellis, the last woman to be hanged in the United Kingdom. I'm joined now by Ruairidh Greig to tell me more about it. Ruairidh, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
I should say the last woman to be hanged by judicial sentence.
Well,
absolutely. That is in Great Britain. The play, what's the name of the play?
It's called The Thrill of Love, by Amanda Whittington.
Opening at the Caxton on Saturday?
That's right. We're opening on Saturday and then the following week from Monday to Saturday until the 27th.
And where can people get tickets?
The tickets are available from the Fishing Heritage Centre or from the Cleethorpes Tourist Information Centre or on the website www.caxtontheatre.com. £8.50, £7 concessions.
And the author of this play, of this work?
Amanda Whittington has written quite a number of plays, a lot of them about women's issues, some of them based originally at the New Vic Theatre at Newcastle under Lyme. And they've also been, this play was premiered there, but it's also been on in London and at the Stephen Rowntree Theatre in Scarborough.
So it's already had the quality control, as it were.
Yes, it's an excellent play.
Just remind us about the Ruth Ellis story. What happened?
Well, Ruth was a hostess working in a London club. She worked in more than one club, and she was involved in the sort of nightclubs where other things were on offer apart from drinks.
Right, okay.
And it involved quite a lot of the London jet set at the time in the 1950s, including quite a lot of the motor racing crowd. People like Sterling Moss and Mike Hawthorne, famous names from the time.
Indeed, yes.
Went to these clubs. And one of the people who was on the edge of that sort of circle was a man called David Blakely, who was a aspiring racing driver, but never quite made it in the big time. But he had this passionate affair with Ruth Ellis, who
was married to another bloke at the time.
Yes, very much an up and down sort of love affair, and eventually she decided that she'd had enough, and she shot him.
Well, he wasn't a very nice chap. He didn't treat her very well.
No, he didn't treat her very well at all.
But he had it coming.
Yeah, well.
She was tried.
Yes.
An Old Bailey trial, I believe.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we've already said that she was hanged, so we know what the verdict was.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, she pleaded not guilty, but she offered no defence. And this is one of the odd things about her story. And I play Detective Inspector Gale, who is not satisfied with her story and wants to find out the background, as the why done it, if you might like to say, instead of the who done it.
Well, so you're the one who catches her out and unearths the whole.
Well, to catch her
tale.
out in a way, but also to help her perhaps, because she seems almost to have to be wanting to pay her debt to society, and by not offering a defence, she is almost welcoming the hanging.
Well, there's no point in pleading guilty to murder then as now. There's only one sentence, life imprisonment now and hanging then. But do you think that maybe in some ways, if that were to happen nowadays, then she'd have a defence of constraint
diminished responsibility?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons behind the play being written, and the reason why people are still concerned about her story is that very soon afterwards, within a couple of years, the defence of diminished responsibility came in. Yep. So she wouldn't have been hanged.
No. And there would have been a plea of mitigation anyway. Because it was aggravated. What sort of production is it? Is it all sort of bells and whistles, lots of fancy effects?
It's a very nice, excellent production with lots of sound effects and interesting lighting effects, and a very good team of people. A small cast, 5 of us. I'm the only male on the cast. And
Rory, I'm looking forward to it. Caxton Theatre opening on Saturday night.
Absolutely, thoroughly recommended.
Thank you, Rory. Here's Jack with all the sports news.
We'll start with football, and Hull City's Abel Hernandez is said to be working hard on the training ground as he continues his recovery from a ruptured Achilles. The Uruguayan international has spent the last 5 months on the sidelines after suffering the injury in the Tigers' home defeat to Wolves back in August. Head coach Nigel Adkins gave an update as to where the player is with his recovery.
I was on the training ground with him this week, obviously doing a bit more pitch work, so he stepped that up. There's still a long way to go if you look at that, from a progression of what he's doing on the training ground with the ball and running around to actually being the star player that we all know he is and can be in the first team. So the object plan again is that maybe second week in February. Where is he again where we've gone with Will, where is he from that point of view? We'll just have to wait and see. He's working hard. His attitude is spot on. He's wanting to do. He needs to go and play as well. He's got a World Cup to think about in the summer. So the quicker he's back, the better for himself. But importantly, for Hull City. He's contracted to Hull City Football Club, and he needs to keep working hard for that. And he is. It's been spot on.
On to Scunthorpe United now, and the Iron have announced a player departure today. Striker Simon Church has left the club at the end of his short-term contract. The 29-year-old Welsh international joined United on a temporary deal back in October. He made a total of 7 appearances for the club, with his one and only start coming in the Checkatrade Trophy defeat to Doncaster Rovers. Meanwhile, Scunthorpe's manager Graham Alexander has been speaking about the January business the club's conducted so far. The Iron have signed loan deals for midfield pair Cameron McGeehan and Ryan Yates, while striker Ivan Toney rejoined the club on loan from Newcastle United. Alexander said he's happy with the signings the club has made so far.
We looked at what we did last year and this year and how could we improve, and trying to get players on board as early as possible was our biggest, the right players, but trying to get them on as soon as possible was a big thing for us, to give them time to bed in, to sort of see where they are and just get going. The season's going now. Points are at stake now. What's the point in waiting? We need to win now. So we know these players are going to improve us, improve the squad, improve the team, and hopefully improve the results, because that's what we're going to have to try and do in this second part of the season.
In Grimsby Town news, Kwasi Asante has returned to the club after completing his loan at National League side Solihull Moors. The striker rejoined his former club in October and featured 11 times for the struggling West Midlands side. Asante originally signed for Grimsby in January 2017 after scoring 21 goals for Solihull during the 2015-16 season. And finally, in Rugby League, it's bad news for Hull Kingston Rovers back rower Danny Addy. The 27-year-old Robin star has been ruled out with a complex knee injury. Addy sustained the injury in the first half of Sunday's Clive Sullivan Trophy game against Hull FC. Early timescales indicate that he'll be out of action for at least 9 months. He's now expected to see a specialist consultant to discuss the best options for his surgery and recovery going forwards. That's all for the sport. Back to Hugh in the studio.
That's it for tonight. Thank you very much, Jack. If you have a story for us or any other reason to contact, then Facebook and Twitter are available. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 3155553, or you can write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN34 5BQ. Until tomorrow, good evening.